In a time when owning a car was a privilege reserved for the wealthy, because cars were too expensive to own, too difficult to build, and far beyond the reach of ordinary people. One car changed it all. This car is not dubbed the most powerful car in the world because of the power of its engine, nor because of the distance it can go in a short time. It is the most powerful car because of the number of lives it changed and how it changed the history of man forever. The story of the most powerful car ever made began in the 19th century. Here is how it happened. In the early 1900s, the streets of America were a chaotic mix of horses, bicycles, and the occasional expensive automobile. Cars were a symbol of wealth, a luxury reserved for society's elite. For the average worker, owning a car was unthinkable. But in Detroit, a 45-year-old man named Henry Ford had a vision. A car that wouldn't just belong to the wealthy, but to everyone. He imagined a world where the farmer in Kansas, the shopkeeper in Ohio, and the factory worker in New York could all own a car of their own. People thought he was crazy, but Ford wasn't interested in what people thought. He was determined to build a car for the masses. There was just one problem. Cars were expensive to make. Every automobile at the time was hand-assembled, piece by piece, taking days or even weeks to complete. Labor was costly, materials were scarce, and even for those who could afford a car, maintaining one was a nightmare. Ford knew that if he was going to put a car in every home, he had to change the way cars were built. So he gathered a team of engineers and began designing a new kind of vehicle, one that was simple, sturdy, and, most importantly, affordable. After years of experimentation, in 1908, the first car rolled out of the Ford factory, and they called it the Model T. It was like nothing the world had seen before. The Model T was strong, reliable, and easy to repair. It could handle dirt roads, farm trails, and even potholes. A true car for the working man. And the best part? It was cheap. Well, not cheap enough, yet. At its launch, the Model T cost $825, lower than most cars. To put how affordable it was into perspective, competing cars often cost between $2,000 and $3,000 as it then. But many couldn't still buy the Model T at $825, so Ford knew he needed to lower the price even further. But to do that, he had to make more cars, faster, and at a lower cost. So he thought of the best way to do this. And in 1913, Ford introduced an idea that would change manufacturing forever: the moving assembly line. Before, building a single car could take more than 12 hours. But with Ford's new system, that time shrank to just 93 minutes. Here's how it worked. Instead of mechanics walking from station to station, the car moved along a conveyor belt. Workers specialized in a single task, repeating it over and over. Efficiency soared, costs plummeted, and Ford passed the savings on to his customers. By 1916, the price of the Model T had dropped to just $360, making it cheaper than a horse and carriage. For the first time in history, the average American could afford a car. The Model T's success wasn't just the work of Ford and his engineers. It was also the work of thousands of women who assembled and inspected the cars. At a time when women were expected to stay home, Ford's factory opened its doors to female workers, who played a key role in the Model T's production. The women worked in electrical wiring and interior finishing, ensuring that every Model T was built to perfection. Precision assembly, handling small components with care. Their contributions not only helped produce millions of cars, but also paved the way for more women to enter the workforce. The Model T didn't just make cars affordable, it changed everything. Suddenly, people could live farther from work, and cities expanded into suburbs. Businesses boomed as gas stations, motels, and repair shops popped up everywhere. Roads were paved, highways were built, and the world became smaller, more connected. For women, the Model T meant freedom. No longer tied to their homes, they could drive to work, visit friends, or simply explore. The automobile had become a tool of independence. By 1927, Ford had sold over 15 million Model Ts, making it one of the best-selling cars in history. But all good things must come to an end. So after 19 years of production, the last Model T rolled off the assembly line in 1927. It was the end of an era, but its legacy would never fade. The Model T was more than just a car. It was a revolution on wheels. It brought mobility, opportunity, and economic growth to millions of people. It shaped the modern world, making personal transportation a reality for everyone, not just the rich. Today we drive in sleek, high-tech vehicles. But the next time you start your car, remember where it all began, with a simple, sturdy, black automobile that put the world on wheels. If you would like to hear more stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. Thanks for watching.